don't need balls to be audacious, is what I'm saying.
Hey girlfriends, I'm out and about in New York with my friend Lisa Levine. It's so wonderful to have her here from Seattle.
Yay.
And today we're talking about what it looks like, feels like, and is like to live an audacious life. I love that word, audacity. I feel like it's really cheeky.
It is. In fact, one of the definitions of audacity, of audacious, is cheeky and sassy and on the edge, ballsy. Although I'd like to change that because I don't want to, you know what I mean? You don't need balls to be audacious, is what I'm saying.
Definitely. In fact, I feel like not having balls is really helpful in this instance.
I agree, but I love that word as well, and it's really just about being able to show up and take yourself to your own personal audacious limit. Audacious means different things to different people. What feels audacious to you might not feel audacious to me. It's about living it for yourself. And I think when women hit life, it's really great to have a shot of audacity because so many of us have been just trying to be good girls for so long. And I say the hell with that. Let's get audacious.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yes, I was definitely, Lisa, I was one of the good girls.
Yeah.
So I lived most of my life trying to appease my parents, trying to live by the rules that were set out for me that weren't actually real for me.
Yeah.
They weren't guidelines that I wanted to live my life by. Not to say that I didn't learn anything good, because I did, but I feel like when I got to a place of like, to hell with that.
Right on.
Then I was like, oh no, I think I need to set my own rules.
Yeah.
And that has really set me free. Tell us some examples of some rules that you have broken.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure there's a million. And off the top of my head, well, certainly it was always about putting other people's needs before mine. And in order to be a good wife or a good mother or a good employee, it was always about make sure everybody else is taken care of and before you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And frankly, you don't have to do that. There's a way to take care of yourself while you're being a good wife, a good mother, a good employee, a good friend, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And so it's learning about that. That's a huge, and it's an ongoing lesson too, but I've gotten much better at it as I get older. You and I were just talking about something about hitting midlife and being able to determine how to be your best, the most you are, like the best version of yourself. And I don't know what it is about that middle time, and it's a different age for everybody. I'm older than you. For me, it was right before I turned 50. But it's incredibly liberating, and you suddenly realize, wow, I don't have to do all those things.
Yeah. So, Lisa, I hear so many times we talk about taking care of ourselves so that we can care for others. But what does that actually look like for you?
Well, again, for everybody, it's really different. For me, it always starts back with there's my naturopath tells me there's a 5-point health plan. I want to make sure I get enough water and stay hydrated. I want to make sure I get enough sleep. I want to make sure that I'm eating properly and that I'm moving my body. And I also really like to pay attention to what I'm thinking. And so for me, all of the little things that you would consider self-care all come back into those 5 categories. If I'm not rested, then I don't always make the best decisions. If I'm not hydrated, I don't feel good. I mean, isn't that funny? It just comes down to those simple things. And then
like as you're speaking about it, I'm thinking
right.
I need my water.
But the important part, and I learned this when I was training to be a life coach, is really about your thinking. That's a huge thing. We all have so many limiting beliefs that keep us, our brains want to keep us safe. Yes. And so we end up following our inner lizard, I like to call her.
Yes.
And instead of really paying attention to what works for us. And so that comes back to being audacious, and that comes back to figuring out what works best for you. And for me, I would say my biggest limiting belief, and I don't know what it is for you, but for me, it remains, I have to do it right.
Wow.
I can't be wrong. I have to do it right, whatever it is. And so if it's not, and it could be anything, but again, it's being a good girl is definitely part of that. And if somehow I'm not doing it right, and also it could be about weight loss, how you look.
Yes.
Oh my God, I've failed. Like as a coach, sometimes if I put on a few pounds, I'm like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. I'm a coach. I'm a human being.
Yes.
We just got out of a pandemic.
Yes.
I mean, you know what? It's normal. It's okay. But somehow my brain tells me that I've messed up and I have to do it right. Well, newsflash. There is no right. It is what's right for you. It's huge, and that too can be very liberating.
You know, if I think about it, how many times in my life there have been things where I thought this was right, and I go back and I was thinking, wow, how did I think that? You know, so I think that is a very tricky one, because if our lizard brain, like you say, is controlling us and keeping us safe, and for those who don't know what lizard brain is, do you want to give a quick little rundown of what the lizard brain is?
Yeah, so the lizard brain is a part of our reptilian brain that has that we've evolved with since the beginning of time, since caveman times, and that part of our brain is very basic, and it's really all about safety. So it's what to not make the same mistake. So it's always looking forward and backward. What's there, scoping the scene, what's back, what happened, so that it can keep us safe. But of course, we've evolved tremendously in the last several thousand years, and our brains don't need that. We're not running, from marauding cannibals or tribes of vicious lions, or are lions in tribes? No, they're in prides.
Yeah.
Anyway,
pride of lions.
Yes, pride of lions. So we're not rushing it, but we still have that part of our brains, and so now we're constantly scanning forward and backward, and it's all in our heads. It's all about, what are they going to think of us? What's happening? Am I doing it right?
Yeah.
Instead of just being present and tapping into what's right for you.
Yeah.
I mean, and if that's an oversimplified version, but we all know what it feels like to have that voice.
I think also, Lisa, don't our lizard brains get programmed by our experiences, right?
Absolutely.
So like what you're saying about being a good mother and being a good wife and being, society and our families tell us what that looks like.
100%. I would say, I talk about this in my book a little bit, and it's really about these cultural myths that tell us what right is. And between our families and the cultures that we're in, we end up feeling like there's a certain way we have to do things. And the truth is that it's not the same for everybody. It's just not.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up your book. So people, if you don't know already, if you haven't seen Lisa on our show before, she wrote a book, Midlife No Crisis, which is a phenomenal book. I have it on my bookshelf, and I highly recommend that you get it if you don't, and get it in physical version because it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
But Lisa, you talk a lot about taking care of yourself. You talk about it, about how the lizard brain can sometimes sabotage us to make us feel like, oh no, as you said, like this is being selfish. This is I should be taking care of my children. I should be taking care of my husband. And I feel like that whole thing, I'm just so fascinated by this thing that the best thing we can do for ourselves is to look at our thoughts.
Oh my gosh.
Which doesn't actually take that much time, right?
Well,
it's not like it takes time out of our schedule.
No, it doesn't take time out of our schedule, but it's a really interesting habit to develop because we think like 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And so, and some of them, the ones that we've been thinking repeatedly for years or for decades, because these cultural myths, they run deep, they're very well rooted. So think about them as like superhighways in your mind.
Yes.
And so sometimes we're not even aware of what we're thinking. So while it doesn't take time necessarily to pay attention, it takes a willingness to pay attention. Like you know, and here's what I tell my clients: even if you don't grab the thought right away, what happens is your thoughts are the things that lead to your feelings. So if you're walking around and you're feeling kind of blue, follow the feeling backwards to the thought, and then when you get the thought, then you get to play around with it. And the way I was taught in coach training, in order to change those thoughts, the ones that are so deeply rooted, it's almost like wiggling a loose tooth, right? So the more you find it, you kind of wiggle it and you play with it, and you go, is that true? Says who? Where did that thought come from? And it's remarkable, and I work a lot with my clients. One exercise that I like to do is called drop and give me 20. And so when they find a thought,
that sounds fun.
It is fun. But when they find a thought, for instance, like my limiting belief, which comes back to bite me on the butt repeatedly, I have to do it right. Drop and give me 20 is find 20 reasons why that's not true.
Wow.
And so why don't I have to do it right? And usually if it's in a specific instance, like I'm doing this wrong, 20 reasons, and my clients will go, oh my God, I cannot find 20 reasons to say why that's not true, and we always do. There's never been one time that I haven't, and I'm trying to think of an example that would be apropos.
Okay, well, let's do that on me.
Yeah, let's.
I'm do that. So my big thought is my best is not enough.
Okay.
Yeah, that bites me in the butt, and I get so angry when I feel like I'm doing my best, but I'm not getting the result that I want.
Okay.
Which happens quite often.
Well, let's start. So, give me one reason why your best is not enough. What was the exact thing?
My best is not enough.
Okay. So give me one reason why your best is not enough. How is that not true?
How is it not true?
Yeah, we're disproving it.
Well, because I've done my best in certain areas, and it's been more than enough. In fact, often when I'm trying less and being more, when I'm doing less and being more, that's often when things come right. It's not in the trying. When I'm trying too hard, Lisa, I feel like I miss it. When I'm just being myself, I'm just being who I am, then it comes naturally.
Perfect. You know, another way we can do it is, how is your best enough? Tell me another reason why your best is enough. How is your best enough?
Let me think about that. Yeah, it's deep.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, in my growing up, I never felt like my best was enough. I would try and try, and I still would never get the acceptance or what I felt I needed.
What is better than your best? What is better than your best?
What is better than your best?
What is better than your best? Do you see how believing your best is not enough is going to be something that's going to keep you feeling low forever, because you can't do better than your best? What is your best?
Yes.
Your best.
So my best, for me, I'm realizing that my best is standing in identity of who I am.
Brilliant.
That is my best. I cannot be and I don't choose to be anything that I'm not, right?
Amen.
I just want to be who I am, because when I'm who I am, I'm working from that place of identity.
I love that.
And not from a place of striving, because that's my biggest lesson in life, is do less and be more.
Right. Be yourself. You know, another thing that I teach my clients is all about being what I call TAO, T-A-O, transparent, authentic, and open.
Oh, I love
and just
that.
showing up in the world as
transparent, authentic, and open.
So what you're telling me is that when you are authentic, that is your absolute best. And there is nothing you can do beyond that. If you're showing up as your authentic self. So if we were working and we were doing a drop and give me 20, we might work a little bit until we found the nugget that resonates the most. And so I think I would probably bring some authenticity into that. When I am authentic, I am my best. And giving me 20 reasons, for instance, why that is true.
I love that. So what it is actually doing, so what I'm hearing you say is that when you catch yourself with that thought that really bites you in the butt. I love that thought. I'm a visual person, so I have it like biting me in the butt. Then I'm gonna go, ouch, no, stop that. Actually, when I'm being authentic and being myself and just in the presence of who I am and my identity, that is more than enough.
Amen.
That is more than enough. So it's actually replacing. It's replacing, or it's going, no, I break agreement with that. Yeah. I break agreement with that lie that I've been believing for so many years, and I choose to stand in agreement of this new truth.
Absolutely. Just because you believe something does not mean it's the truth.
That is so true. How many times have we believed something with absolute determination to find out that we were wrong?
Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true. So that is, I tell my clients that all the time. And it's funny, you were talking about a visual. I visualize my lizard brain. For a long time, her name was Amy. Apologies to any Amy's out there, but it was
mine is Gertrude.
Amy was because it's short for amygdala, which is kind of the area in the brain where that is. So I would call her Amy, and I would visualize her so I could actually talk to her. And Amy's kind of, are we allowed to curse?
Yes.
Amy's kind of an asshole, and so I need to tell her that to take a hike. To sit down and be quiet and thank you, I don't need your input. And the truth is we're never going to be able to fully, exercise to get rid of that part of our brains. But we can get into the habit of telling them to be quiet and that they're not in charge.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I imagine Gertrude, she's the little Tracy, and so I'll say thank you. So she's having a good temper tantrum. I acknowledge her, and then I send her off to her room.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm like, okay, go to your room now and be quiet.
That's perfect. I had a client who imagined her lizard always was wearing a hairnet and curlers, and she would come out and she would always try to, this client would say, she would always try to run the board meeting in her mind. You know, there would be a table, and then there would be the different parts of her, and then the lizard in the hairnet would come up and try to run the board meeting, and she got very good at actually identifying that and saying, go back to your cave. Thank you, and go have a nap.
So good.
Yeah.
I love that, Lisa, because I think that also we can then go on the whole disparaging thing and make ourselves feel bad again because, oh, I'm thinking this thought that's so limiting, and it becomes this like real judgment thing. Well, we can actually have fun with it.
Yes.
We can have
100%.
fun with these parts of ourselves because they are there for a reason. They
Absolutely. And we talk to ourselves in our minds in a way that we would never talk to another human being. And when I was a couple years ago, I don't remember if this is in the book or not, but I was driving and I was trying to find a parking space, and there was one pretty close to where I wanted to be, but I thought I could get a better one. So I was driving around the block, and then by the time I came back around, that one
you went
was
to
gone.
New York.
Yeah, right. No, I was in Seattle. But that one was gone, and the thought was, oh my God, Lisa, you're such an idiot. And I laughed out loud. I was like, you're not an idiot. I mean, we talk. That was the first thought, but I was paying attention to my thinking, and I noticed it, and I backed it up, and I gave myself some self-compassion, and I laughed about it because that's how our minds work. It's just, we're human.
Yeah.
And in all of that, to say that I think part of becoming our most audacious selves in midlife, for certain, is to stop getting in our own way with some of the things we think. And to start to pay attention. Paying attention is the key, friends.
Yeah.
That's just it's the key to all of it.
It really
attention.
is. It really is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That's amazing. And I actually feel like that has released something in me.
Oh,
actually, it feels like it's dislodged it, and I'm going to play with that and start using that as my affirmation.
Fantastic.
So,
awesome. And
awesome.
TAO, transparent, authentic, and open.
Amazing.
Yes.
And so, girlfriends, thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Now, Lisa, just tell them where they can get hold of you, where they can follow you, and find your book, most importantly.
So you can get my book, Audacious. It's what is my book called?
Midlife No Crisis.
Midlife No Crisis, An Audacious Guide to 50 and Beyond. And you can get it, you can find it on my website, and you can also find it on Amazon. You can order it online from your local bookstore, and you can find me online at audaciouswellness.com, and you can find me on Instagram at the Lisa Levine.
It's the Lisa Levine, and I'll definitely put that up on the screen so that you can follow her. And also for those of you who have a description box, I will put the links to her website below for you. So Audacious Wellness.
Audacious Health and Wellness is my business, but that's just too damn long of a
URL.
Yes. So it's Audacious Wellness. But hey, hit me up. I would love to hear from you. I love talking to folks, and I'm working on a couple of new things. I'm working on an online course and a bunch of other stuff. So
amazing. And so for those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome and keep watching. We have a lot of fun episodes out and about in New York that are going to really just inspire you to live your best life regardless of your age, because you do not have to be defined by your age. And girls, live with audacity. I feel completely inspired today. So if you want to stay in touch with us, you can go to tracygoldshow.com, TRACY, gold is in the color, show.com. Sign up to the insiders list so you get a weekly newsletter on all the up and coming things that we have and the replays that you may have missed. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.